Hey everybody, welcome to On the Fringe. It's Dave. I'm here with Gavin,
Hello, hello.
and we are coming at you guys today about something that could widely change the internet as we know it, and it could be helping potentially protect kids online. And Gavin, this is something that we are both very interested in and we see as being important to our future and to ourselves. I was a teacher for 10 years. You're a teacher now, and protecting kids online is something that is very important. It's something that Congress has been trying to do for the last couple of years, and it looks like we're finally moving forward with getting a couple of bills passed to actually protect kids online. Gavin, what are some of the bills that are currently going through or have gone through Congress recently?
So there are two main ones we're going to talk about. There are actually a lot of them, but they're two main ones. They're both bipartisan. They're both supported by the Democratic and Republican parties. So you have the Safe Kids Act, which is being sponsored by Senators Schiff and Curtis. Schiff, Democrat from California, Curtis, Republican from Utah. And then you have the Kids or KIDS Act from the House, which is Representatives Guthrie and Pallone from Kentucky and New Jersey. There's a lot of overlap with both of these acts. There's a lot of overlap in terms of support and wording and what exactly is in these. Just to add on to what you said, Dave, I also think this isn't just about protecting minors on the internet. This is also sort of a catch-up wave of legislation addressing the use of AI or LLMs, which has
Hmm.
sort of been a long time coming. Because when LLMs first got released on the market, let's say, there was not a lot of legislation in the US about regulation or creating a regulatory mechanism or really oversight of any kind, whether for minors or anyone else. So I see this as sort of the legislative branch in the United States trying to play catch up. And
Hmm.
this is, as you just pointed out very correctly, it's a hot button issue. It's protecting children on the internet. We've already seen, heard there are ongoing cases of minors coming to harm through interactions with LLMs, getting inappropriate advice or getting malicious advice or getting just very harmful information targeted at them. So it's an issue and it's a hot button issue and it's something that these bills are trying to address. And they're both making a great deal of progress. Do you want to talk about the sort of commonalities, the things they have in common?
Yeah. So these bills, the House bill, the Kids Act, is essentially a bill where they're taking several other bills and they're kind of putting them together and piecemealing. The House bill, and what we found, is pushing age verification. It's pushing safety being a legal priority for companies using AI bots and companies that actually have access to kids, and it's essentially protecting their data as well. So if kids' data is being used online, it can only be used one time, it cannot be stored for a long time. And then these bills also inform parents. So if their kids or your kids want to use some sort of a service online, they're going to be using the default safety mechanisms on the account. And if they try to change that, then you should be notified by the company that your kid is trying to essentially change their account or they're trying to get around some of the safeguards in place. This does have a couple of other things as well that people may be not looking at, but it has big changes to policing in terms of what is actually being said online in terms of content. So there's going to be a lot more protection for kids, especially in forums and on social media, where if people are saying things that could potentially be harmful to kids, there's going to be more policing involved in terms of what people can say, what people can't say. But at the same time, it could potentially limit free speech, according to some audiences. There
They're
are going to be some
serious.
really,
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, there are potentially going to be some huge changes to social media and to content that is posted online if these bills actually do pass and they do become law.
And they're not heavily modified. I mean, I would imagine there's going to be a great deal of pushback. If you look at this, particularly the Safe Kids Act, it's calling for, I would say, a radical new regulatory framework for how people conduct themselves online. It's essentially asking for participation from the FTC and all 50 states in monitoring large companies operating AI chatbots and social media. And it would be putting in a regulatory framework about essentially what you can or can't say. Specifically, I don't want to use the word targeting, specifically focused on minors, but it would affect everyone because it would affect how you can interact with other people and it would affect how you would get flagged. Because right now, how you get
Hmm.
flagged for harmful or potentially illegal content or communications on these platforms is, as far as I'm aware, basically up to the companies. Whatever structure they have in place, whatever reporting mechanism they have in place, if they don't have a reporting mechanism or if they have a non-functioning reporting mechanism, that's essentially their business. This,
Yeah, and I mean, you go into that a little bit. You get flagged for saying something on Facebook, you may not get
mm,
flagged on Twitter. Companies
yeah,
essentially
because they're
have their own policies.
totally different
Hmm.
policies. This would get rid of that, at least in the United States.
Hmm.
Both of these bills would essentially legislate that out, where there would still be, I think there would still be leeway for companies to have different content moderation tools, but the guidelines would have to be uniform. And I think that's where people get a little concerned. The other concern is something that you've talked about, Dave, which I think is really interesting, which is with a potentially new, not laborious, but certainly more robust regulatory framework coming in, how are the companies going to police this? And you think that what they're going to do is something that I find very interesting. What do you think they're going to do, Dave?
Well, they're going to be using, I would say for Meta and X and Google, they're going to be using bots that they've been training for the last couple of years.
Hmm.
And we have seen, well, there was a report that came out a couple of weeks ago. A company called Emergence AI set up a world that was run exclusively by AI bots. And it was a small town, it had about 10 bots that were living in it. And every single one of these towns failed.
Hmm.
And they largely failed because the bots essentially didn't do their job and didn't follow the rules as the bots were instructed to do by the model. And essentially, these companies are going to go, we don't have enough people. We can't hire enough people to go through and police all of these chats or all of these accounts. So we're going to basically push it out to bots. I don't think this is going to work. I think you need to keep people in the driver's seat of the internet. And I think this bill is going to just push the internet more toward bots to where it's going to be essentially bots running the show. And
Just sloppier and
depending on what the
sloppier.
algorithm thinks, your post makes it or your post doesn't make it. And
Hmm.
we just continue to push the notion of AI slop into people's lives, for better or for worse. And I think this bill is lacking because it should push more toward education, toward, okay,
Hmm.
children and families and people that are actually using the internet. There needs to be more education about what is real and what is not real. And there needs to be a push for critical thinking. And that's where the bill lacks. That's where the bill fails. And that's really what the American people need is we need to improve our critical thinking as a country in
Well,
virtually
you'll
everything
get
that
no
we do.
disagreement from me
So,
there.
like you were saying, Congress is trying to fix the problem as Congress typically does,
Hmm.
and it comes up with a solution, and the solution is not completely thought all the way through. And
No.
if these bills actually pass, or if a bill with all these separate bills makes it through and becomes law, there's going to be a lot of pats on the back, and people are going to, oh, we're protecting kids.
Well,
It's going to just
I
change the
suspect
internet.
that
It's going to make things harder for people, and it's going to just push more AI slop into people's laps.
yeah. I also suspect it's gonna if these bills pass unaltered, which I find unlikely, but if they do,
Yeah, I'm with
uh,
you.
again, I just feel like they're gonna get the hell sued out of. I mean, there's just gonna be suits going up to the Supreme Court all the time if this act passes, because it's hard to disagree with the sentiment, as you just said. But there are very serious First Amendment concerns regarding this. And I don't see them really being addressed, again, outside of a few NGOs who would cover it. I don't see that sufficiently being addressed. That's a pretty big concern. And again,
Hmm. It is. It is. And it essentially,
you can lead a voter to water, but you can't make them think, or a bot.
hmm.
I'm not sure who works in this metaphor, but it's just again legislating critical thinking education. I mean, I'm for it, but like it's not. It's difficult to think of how you would do it, considering that currently we have an administration that's been trying to get rid of the Department of Education. Secondly, I just uh, what you said. I think they're going for an easy win. This is something that there is broad bipartisan agreement on,
Hmm.
and it is an emotive issue for people because people are worried about their kids. Surprise, surprise. You are absolutely right in that this does not address the systemic core issues. This is going to create probably as many problems as it solves. And we are going to, on the fringe, be talking about
Hmm.
this for a long time.
Just quick background before we wrap this up. So the Kids Online Safety and Privacy Act
Hmm.
had passed both houses of Congress. This was back in 2024, and it's now part of the Kids Act that just passed the House. This has taken 2 years, and Congress is a couple of years behind. The government is always going to be a couple of
Yeah.
years behind. This might be a quick stopgap for now, but as fast as technology is changing our lives, it's not going to be a catch-all to solve the problem.
No.
And the best way to protect yourself and to protect your kids online is to think critically about what you're looking at and what you're doing and be aware.
True enough.
It comes down to you taking responsibility for yourself and for your actions and for your own personal data online.
Or at the very least, trying to in this crazy world.
Hmm.
Anyways, I think that just about wraps it up. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you are listening to this on a platform where a review is possible, please give us a review. We'd really appreciate it. And thank you for listening to us in On the Fringe Season 5. Now, Dave, are you still with us?
Uh-huh.
Hit the button.
Hit the button.
Yes.
I think I
Hit the
got that. You said hit the
button.
button. It was not lost in
I said hit the
translation.
button.